Welcome to Unity Inspired Living. Our community began in 1989 as a small worldwide Unity book study group, and we've continued the momentum as an ever-evolving spiritual community. Each Sunday, you will find dynamic thought leaders delivering inspiring messages and talented musicians sharing sound healing through their melody. Here, we embrace ancient spiritual traditions, universal truths, and emerging wisdom. Let's check out this Sunday message. We're so grateful you've joined us.
Thank you, God, better known as John. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We can go home now. We can. John and Pat's reading. Okay, that's it. We've been spiritually fed. Let's go home. Of course, you know I'm being silly. So good morning and welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm always happy to be here. As I was driving out here today, I just felt like my car was even saying, oh, yay, we're going to Unity Inspired Living. But so I'm so happy to be here. And welcome, Love Streamers. Thank you for showing up in your PJs or in whatever form, and those of you who watch this later on during the week. As you know, I always like to start with a little giggle, a little tickle, a little what you might call a joke. So there was this 92-year-old man who wasn't feeling up to par, so this man went to the doctor. And so the doctor examined him, and he gave him some information. And so about 2 or 3 days later, the doctor happened to be in a park, a local park, and saw this 92-year-old man. He was with a vibrant, stunning, gorgeous, curvaceous woman. And the doctor said, "What are you doing? What's up with this?" And the man, the 92-year-old man, said, "Well, when I came to you, you told me to get a hot mama and stay happy." And the doctor said, "No, I told you you have a heart murmur. Be careful." Isn't that wonderful? It's all in the perception. So anyway, to this month's theme is inner balance, and that's quite a theme. I mean, that's what we're all working towards, our spiritual practices. Yes, Jen, I agree. We never know what we're hearing, or we perceive it in so many different ways. Yeah, so inner balance, and what showed up for me was sacred stasis, which when that showed up, I said, okay, Spirit, so what does this mean? And basically, it's spiritual equilibrium and harmony. Spiritual equilibrium and harmony within us. However, we're going to talk a little bit about those words, sacred stasis, or I am. And the reason I say we are here co-creating together. Yes, I have my iPad. Yes, I have the things in there. I have what Spirit has let me know ahead of time is mine to share. However, it cannot make itself known in its full entity without the co-creation of each one of us, our willingness to be here together, to do this together. So thank you. We're all here together. So sacred stasis. What does the word sacred mean? Well, it can mean a lot of things. And in the religion I grew up in, that word sacred was kind of scary to me. Like things were sacred and I couldn't talk about them or touch them or be about them. However, today the word sacred for us is regarded with reverence, consecrated, devoted to the deity, or numinous. And numinous, I love that word numinous. I love the way it feels in my mouth. But numinous is spiritual or surpassing comprehension. So all of those things are sacred. And I want to be the first to tell you today, each one of us is sacred too. When you got up this morning and brushed your teeth and looked in that mirror, you were looking at a sacred expression of the Most High. No matter what you look like. No matter if you were looking like me, my hair was all askew, and I was thinking, oh, yeah, it shows how many decades I've been on the planet here in this mirror. And I give thanks for that. Anyway, so that's sacred. The second one, stasis. I love this word when it showed up. And stasis is a counterbalance, equilibrium, symmetry, or equal influence. So sacred, so the numinous symmetry of the universe makes itself known in, through, and as each one of us. That's who we are, and that's where we are, and that's what we are. So as I was being with all of this, I thought of a different sort of story than I usually tell. I thought of the most lovely, most spectacular, most beautiful baccarat crystal. And we probably all know about baccarat crystal. If you don't, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. It started in 1765. And baccarat crystal is high-quality lead crystal. I first discovered it in the 70s when my first sojourns to Europe. And a friend of mine who I traveled with, he knew about Baccarat crystal. And the thing I learned about it is that it's artistry and craftsmanship, and it's got unparalleled purity. Any of that sound familiar? Artistry, craftsmanship, unparalleled purity, which is who and what we are. We are Spirit's own expression, its own Baccarat crystal. Okay, in Baccarat crystal, what it does is it harmonizes, aligns and harmonizes the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. Think about that. It harmonizes and aligns earth, air, fire, and water. And the main thing about Baccarat crystal and the artisans who make it, they embrace the finished product before the glass is even fired. Yeah, that the finished product is already, they're already in alignment and harmonization with the finished product before they even fire the glass. I have been watching on television with my son this show, I forgot, Glass Blowers, I think it is. It's a competition show. And it's about blowing glass and about making glass things. And it's very fascinating to me because it's really hard work, from my point of view. And it's really artistry and artisanship and things like that. And on that show, too, they give them specifics, like one time they had to make vases that was about the movement of the earth or something like that. And they had to know, they get to know before they even fire anything up, before they even touch those long glass blowing sticks and use all their own things. What is it that's showing up? What is it that's already within me that is wanting to come out? What is wanting to emerge through this sort of thing? And these people too, as well as the Baccarat artisans, it's about aligning and harmonizing. It's about aligning and harmonizing with that is already within us. And what a concept. That it's already in me. It's already in you. It's already in each one of us. This sacred stasis is already happening within us. And thank you so much, Pat, for your contemplative readings and that you let them come up and out of you, because it is about inner balance. And the inner balance and sacred stasis, part of that is about what I call the S word, surrender. Yeah, I chuckle about it too, because surrendering can be the easiest thing ever if we align and harmonize. However, surrendering can really be a challenge if your ego is leading the way. And I love the abbreviation or the acronym for ego from Wayne Dyer, edging God out. Yeah, if I let my ego get in the way, I'm edging God out. If my ego says, well, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? Well, what makes you think that's going to work? And where are you going to get the funds for that? And who's going to open up to it? And where is it going to be? And da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Edging God out. Giving ourselves an opportunity to no longer be in a place of alignment and harmonizing. Aligning and harmonizing with that we know is the truth. Because when I get an intuitive hit from the divine, when I get an intuitive aha, or revelation or an awareness, that is Spirit saying to me, to you, to all of us, my beloved, you're the one. Here's the idea. Here's the emotion. Here's the thought. Here is the revelatory expression that gets to come through you. It can't come through anybody else. It gets to come through you. And I know you've heard this before, however, it bears repeating, at least for me, about 1,000,000 times, or at least 1,000 times a day. There is no one else like you. Nobody else can be and do and bring and create and share what is yours to be. Nobody else. You know, there's that joke, too. Be yourself, because everybody else is taken. So, so there is no one else like you. So in the ways of aligning and harmonizing, like the Baccarat artisans, which I did have an opportunity to go to the Baccarat factory in awe and breathlessness, see how it's all made, and know that it's an aligning and harmonizing with the divine that's going on there. Yes, it is talent and skill of blowing glass. Yes, they have outlines ahead of time, I'm sure, and it is also that comes from within each one of them for the expression of the divine that each of them is. And then when they get all done, you have this gorgeous vase or goblet or all sorts of things. Yeah, that, if you take a look at it, it reflects the light of the divine. It does. It reflects the light of the divine, which is what we all are, a reflection of the light of the divine. So I was being with all this actually day before yesterday. I thought, okay, aligning and harmonizing, I get this, Spirit, for us to be in sacred stasis, which is, of course, spiritual equilibrium and harmony. What's the way, not the how, because I want to make it clear. I think we all know this. However, it's important to say, when I am participating in an endeavor, or when one is participating in an endeavor, one need not know the how. And I also accept and understand and realize that can be quite a challenge when your ego is saying, but how's this going to happen? How's this going to happen? How's this going to happen? As you both know, I have adult children now, and when I was raising them, there were 2 words in our house that I did not allow. They just were not allowed to say them. How and why. Because the how and the why is about spirit. It's not about us. It's not about, even though each one of us is a magnificent emanation and expression of spirit, the how is spirits. So I was being with these aligning and harmonizing, making that inner balance, sacred stasis. And I was just thinking, in what ways can this happen? So I first looked up some things, of course, and Charles Fillmore says, align thoughts and actions with the divine, fostering a state of holy unity. Again, align thoughts and actions with the divine, fostering a state of holy unity, which for me, that means that now we are coming into our sense of oneness, which is spiritual accord. If I come into my sense of oneness, then all things are possible. Inner balance is a fun activity. Inner balance is like going to the playground, being on the teeter-totter, being on the whirl-around thing. I've forgotten the name of it, but merry-go-round. Thank you, Jan. It is. That's so. If I allow myself to do that, so that's for the aligning and harmonizing. Harmonizing is being in unity, or even being in agreement, or even in music, it's bringing everything all together so it all fits together. So for harmonizing, it came to me, I was being aware of this passage, which is, the original spirit is harmony. The original spirit is harmony. Beauty, truth, and everything that goes with the ultimate reality. The universe is not divided against itself. There is no duality in spirit. It will accomplish everything and nothing can hinder it. So isn't that great to know that that's what harmony is? The original spirit is harmony. And that harmony, alignment, and harmonization all go together. And in my humanness, I realized I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I thought, and what comes next, Spirit? And so, because that's who I am. And what showed up is heart and head coherence. Heart and head coherence, which is wonderfully easy, or we can make it a challenge if we'd like. However, our heart space and our head space coherence, when we bring those two together, all things are possible. Then inner balance becomes a thing of everyday, just as innate or as organic as our breathing. So, our heart space is a place where the true self, with balanced responses, genuine intuitiveness, lives authentically. Think of that, your heart space. And our heart space is so many other things also. Our heart space is absolutely, we all know too that there's a brain in our head, there's a brain in our heart. So also that there's a brain in our heart that's working all the time, or not working, being all the time, and giving of its truth, giving of its knowledge, giving of its awarenesses, and so much more. So first, our heart space. Secondly, our head space can sometimes be projection. My head space, I'm not going to go with my head space can sometimes be filled with the effects of life. Not the spirituality of life, but the effects of life. Like my headspace can be filled with, this morning, as I was driving here, I have my GPS on, and on the GPS it said, police radar ahead. The little square came up, police radar ahead. And then it said, still there or no? I could press either one. Really, that's what it said on my GPS. And so my headspace said, uh-oh, you better slow down. You're going to get a ticket. My heart space said, just keep driving, knowing that all is well. You're not doing this by yourself. You're doing it in tandem with the one that created you. And so I did keep going. I did ease up a little off of going 80 miles an hour to, to 75 miles an hour in all transparency. However, and I just went on past the police. Hi, how you doing? Have a good day. I know it's Sunday. You're going to catch a lot of people, not me. However, that's just a little example of on my way here, the headspace and the heart space. Also, my headspace went to a big, long story. Oh, if you get stopped. Oh, you're going to be late. Oh, then you have to call Jan. Oh, da-da-da-da. And my heart space said, there is no time and space in the divine. The timeliness and the timelessness of the divine expands and expands and expands and expands and gets you wherever it is you are supposed to be in time and on time, safely, easily, and effortlessly. So that's what I mean by the difference between our heart space and our head space. And the head space can really, I don't know about you, but my head space can really jerk me around sometime. Yeah, it can. My headspace can really, really, John's shaking his head, no. My headspace can really, that's why I'm going with the I, John. I'm going with the I messages, that the headspace can be filled with group consciousness. You know, we have chosen to be here on the planet at a time that appears to be chaotic, turbulent, upsetting. You know all the other words. Polarizing, that's a big word these days. That we all chose it. Each one of us, when we incarnated, we chose it. And in that choice, we came with the tools to navigate it, to flow through it, and to bring our highest and our best for it. And like I said before, because each one of us is a unique, bespoke entity of the divine. So as I allow myself to know that my heart space and my head space are working together, then I get to bring what is mine to bring or ours to bring to the planet at this time, because we are going through, I hope you agree with me, we're going through some magnificent transmutation. Yeah. And magnificent, I say that because there is no duality in spirit. It may look yucky. It may look upsetting. It may look like, oh my goodness, what is happening? However, it is a blessing. It is magnificence. It is absolute transformation happening for us right here and right now. And we chose to be a part of it. So the ways that I decided, or came through me, that we get to do the heart and head coherence, even in these times, and I don't want to just talk about the times in the United States, even in your life, in your family life. In your family life, in your work life, in your community, unity-inspired living life, in through and as everything. There's some ways that heart and head coherence can happen quite easily for us. First way, seed and cultivate mindfulness. Seed and cultivate mindfulness. In whatever way that mindfulness is yours to be, seed and cultivate that. For me, for most of us, it's meditation. Being in a place of mindfulness. Being in the stillness, being in the silence, letting the rest of the world drop away, and just be merely be in that place. Listen. Be in the place of listening, and I know that meditation is different every time. Each time we sit down, it's like the first time, and all the other stuff that goes on in meditation, it goes on in mind. Bless it and allow it to be. Bless it, allow it to be, send it on its way. However, one of the ways that we can do heart and head coherence, first way, seed and cultivate mindfulness. And by the seeding part, even if you're, here in California, we drive a lot, so this is a perfect example. If you're at a stoplight and you are maybe not being in the present moment, not in the now space, and you're thinking about what's coming when it turns green, allow yourself to just seed some mindfulness in that moment. And what you said, Pat, thank you, breathe. Just breathe in some mindfulness and know that just like our monkey mind is always going, the intuitive voice is continuously, eternally going inside us. That intuitive voice is all the time saying, my beloved, my darling, my dearest, let's have a conversation. All the time. It is. So first thing, seed and cultivate mindfulness. Second thing, check the course of your autopilot. Yeah, now, what's that mean? Check the course of your autopilot. And we all have, I don't use it in my car because it makes me crazy and I might do some other things, but you can put on the, thank you, cruise control. Okay, cruise control, autopilot. Autopilot came to me because, where I spent most of my life, in the air. But check the course of your autopilot, and by that I mean things that you take for granted or things that you already know is the truth. Take a look at it. I can use myself as an example. Part of the autopilot that I have is there's a lot of racists in the world. Because I've experienced that. I've had that life experience. But checking the autopilot to know that, and what is behind that racism, and what is your part in that racism, and is there some racism, heaven forbid, inside of you, Verona? Yeah, that's what I mean by checking an autopilot. That's one of the autopilots that is in me. In all transparency, I share that with you. So check your autopilot. Check the things you think you know. Check the things you think, if you think you know that someone is a dirty, rotten, no good person, check that. Check and see if that, could there be a foundation of the light of the divine in that individual? Could it be? Could it be possible? Because we're all the same. So the way for our heart and head coherence is check your autopilot. Take a look at it. Check your autopilot. And do it every day. Do it daily. Do it once or twice or 10 times a day. Just check your autopilot. I am from a family of 5 sibs, and there are 3 of us on this side of the veil. And one of my sibs, she knows every single thing, and she'll be happy to tell you. Okay? And I love her dearly, okay? However, whenever I talk with her, I get to check my autopilot. Because part of my autopilot is, okay, here we go. She knows everything. I don't get to say anything. I get to check the autopilot and know that, we are two loving beings of the divine, and we bring something to one another, and whatever it is she brings to me that is challenging is a blessed way of my learning and growing. Check your autopilot. And the third way is incarnate compassion. Incarnate compassion. We all decided to incarnate here, and we all came with what, as I was been saying before, with what we all bring. How about if you incarnate compassion in every interaction, in every endeavor, in every activity? Every. If you incarnate compassion with everything. And basically, that can be pretty easy. I was talking with a friend of mine recently, and I was saying, well, I realize I have surrounded myself with people who think like I do. So it's pretty easy to incarnate compassion. However, incarnate compassion wherever I am, wherever we are. Incarnate compassion no matter what. Incarnate compassion with your mother-in-law or your father-in-law. Incarnate compassion with whomever you deal with. Incarnate compassion with the person at your job or even the person in your community who gets on your last nerve. And by that, incarnate compassion. Incarnation is like what you see here. We all chose these body temples. So incarnate that. Be that. Be your body temple essence. Be compassion. Yeah, and this makes heart and head coherence. So I want to give you a quick example of how this is working in my life. As thank you, Jan. As you all know, in my new bio, I have a new book. And so I wrote the new book. I've had some book signings, and I was part of the book club. And then about 10 days ago, I had cataract surgery. And cataract surgery is really like getting a manicure these days. However, it's gotten to be very easy surgery. However, with my particular eyes, there was some other challenges for the surgeon. And so she had to do some other things. And when it was complete, she did tell me, it may take you a little longer to heal than normal cataract surgery. And I just want you to know that, and please go home and rest and be that. Okay, so I go home and I'm resting for a few days, and then I feel as if, okay, it's been 3 days, all right. Let's get up and get things going. And there was a head and heart thing going on for me, because at that time, too, I'm thinking, okay, there's more things you need to do for your book. You need to put it in all the bookstores. You need to make sure you send it to all the places where you speak. You need to make an author page on Amazon, which is where it is. You need to put it on direct to digital, because then it could be published by other places at Amazon. Well, my body knew differently. And so I got to really, because when I would strike out to do all these things, literally, I would get sharp, stabbing pains in my left eye, which is the eye that was operated on. I mean, I would get like, where Spirit was saying, sit your butt down, Verona. Get some rest. And so I realized that that's what was happening with me, even though I wasn't thinking about it, this heart and head coherence. I got an opportunity to cultivate mindfulness, to really be in a place of mindfulness and stillness and silence and solitude. I also got to check the course of my autopilot, because my autopilot said, you're energetic. You know the way to do all of this. You're the one who gets to do it. Get up, put on your clothes, get going. Whereas honestly, what Spirit was saying is, and honor the body temple that I have given you, and honor the vision that I have given you, and rest. Rest. Close your eyes. Don't go on a computer. Don't stream TV shows. Don't read any book, including your own book. Rest. And then the third thing, of course, incarnate compassion. I got to be compassionate with myself. I got to be compassionate with the idea that I wanted, once again, my ego wanted to do what it wanted to do. And versus being compassionate with the fact that, as I know, you know, we all know, there is no time and space in Spirit. There's the timeliness and timelessness of the universe awaiting me getting the gift of my book out into the world. So that's how this heart and head coherence practice worked for me, and I wasn't even aware of it. However, it was working itself as me and through me. It was being itself as me and through me, and that's the way it came through. So for us, aligning and harmonizing is heart and head coherence. That's what it is. It's just it's this thing. I want to challenge you. And the challenge is, be the sacred stasis that you are by aligning and harmonizing in heart and head coherence. Heart and head coherence, in case you forgot, seed and cultivate mindfulness, check the course of your autopilot, and incarnate compassion. How do you feel about doing this? Okay, say it again. Are you ready? Yes. And in our readiness, we, of course, our consciousness, our readiness, our willingness, we change the planet. Namaste.